Howdy, howdy, everyone. This is Sharon for another Conscious Sharon moment. And so I am here on Facebook, on my personal page, as well as on my business page. And I'm also on Instagram and YouTube. And so remember to like and share and also turn on your notifications so that you know when I come on, because with these Conscious Sharon moments, they are spontaneous. And that's what we want life to be. Even though how much I even love structure, but it's so important to be able to adjust. I talked about that in an earlier, or shall I say, in a previous conscious sharing moment. But anyway, remember these conscious sharing moments are life hacks, aha moments, revelations, observations I made about myself, that conversations that I've had with others or that I see in others or into the world. And so I know if they benefit me, I know it can benefit you. It's kind of one of those things that make you go, And self reflection is really so important. But do you know what's more important than self reflection is whatever it is that we got from that is to be able to implement, change, or do something. But you know what? That is not even the topic of the conscious sharing moment. So, this conscious sharing moment, we will talk about giving yourself a break. And this is so important in our work life as well as in our home life. And sometimes your work life is your home life, depends on what you do, right? So give yourself a break because it's so important to give yourself a break mentally, even emotionally and physically. Let's say at the job, we're given breaks. Each job may call it something different. Most people call them lunch breaks. Um, Most jobs just call them breaks. And then some jobs have policy if you're able to. Not so kind, I will say. I understand why, but the thing is, if you do not physically, because this impacts you mentally, and no matter you're working from home, at home, or you're working physically on a job, or wherever you are, taking a break. Because when you take a physical break, meaning remove yourself, go to lunch, go to, the break room, go out somewhere, go for a walk, whatever it may be, you need that. Your body need that. Your soul need that. Your spirit need that. We need to be able to separate ourselves or really come within ourselves more so, should I say. But what I was going to say is separate ourselves from the environment that we're in at the moment. Because there are studies that say pretty much 4 or 5 hours is the max. I can't remember, is it 4 hours or 5 hours? But let's just say even 5 hours is the max that a person really have to give anyway. So anything else more than that is just a waste of time. They didn't say that part, I did. But just think about it. And so if you are, someone in management, especially, someone in management who makes decisions or enforce policies and procedures regarding individuals' break time. And what about you? You probably think, oh, this is how I got here. I can't take a break. But in the long run, that is not good. It's not good. It's not good because what ends up happening is that as time goes on and our society, our culture have accepted this, oh, it's stress from the job that is so heroic where someone have literally gotten sick, whether it be cancer, high blood pressure, oh, it's stress. They work so hard. Let's stop this now. So, as someone in management, are you making sure that those who your direct reports, those who you lead, and are you leading by example of taking a break and expecting? And especially, I know like sometimes in 12-hour shifts, and I never understood The 8-hour shift, let's say get 30 minutes and then possibly two breaks, two 15-minute breaks. And then the 12-hour would get the same. Really? But it's 12 hours. But it's really important. I'm saying this from experience because there have been times in my life I was like, oh, I got this, I'm going to, and then work straight through my lunch break and don't take it. I've even worked someplace where you had to clock out. There was no excuse for you to put it like this, whether or not you took the break or not, but you had to clock out for your 30-minute time. And I'm pretty sure I know why. Because sometimes you feel like, and it's not always, management saying, oh, this needs to be done, this have to. Sometimes you can work in an environment where it's just so busy. And then what about if your employee is the only person at that particular shift? How do you allow that person to take a break? It's so important because your employees are, your greatest asset. So how are you invested in that? Now, as an employee, are you taking your break? Because taking a break, like I say, physically, it's taking a break mentally. And when I say physically, meaning more so removing yourself, you know, even if you don't eat at that time, but hopefully that you are eating. But it's so important to be able to sit down, and take a break, be with yourself. And then, like, for each person, it's different. We're all different. I know when I used to work at a certain job and go to it was really a cafeteria. It wasn't just a break room, it was a truly cafeteria. Um, at a place that I worked at, I would often go and they would, I guess you could say it was, what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty much, that's to say there were individuals that I ate lunch with. It was just a given. If they were at the table, first I go and sit if I was at the table first. But when I didn't want to interact, I wouldn't go in there. You know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, if you need that time completely by yourself, so it can be a time of socialization or it can be a time for you to truly recharge. But also, socializing is recharging too. And the point that I'm bringing that up is if somebody wants to sit by themselves, whether it be the break room, wherever it may be, allow that to happen. Don't get mad and say, oh, well, what's wrong with that person? No, we need to start really looking at self-care. It's really truly as self-care. It's not being selfish. It doesn't mean that something is wrong. Oh, they can't handle it. No, that's not what that means. It means that person is just taking care of themselves. It just is. It doesn't mean anything. And so if you're saying that, that means go deep within you because it triggers something, within you. And so if that does happen, make sure you do that. The other thing is it's just so important to take that mental break, to take that physical break, because it's going to help you spiritually. Wherever you are with yourself spiritually, it's going to help with that. Again, it helps you recharge. It helps you to relieve any stress you might have didn't even know that you had. Because when it comes to stress can be very subtle. It's not always the thing that says, bam, I call stress is kind of like fender benders and accidents. Fender benders is like, oh, did I get hit? And you kind of know that you did, and it's subtle. Not always. Sometimes a fender bender you really know, but definitely we know the accidents. But sometimes the fender benders can become accidents. But that's the reason that you take care of yourself. And so again, it's so important to take a mental break, to take a physical break, because it allows you to refresh yourself spiritually. So whether, you are at home or you are at work, so if you're an employee, take your break. If you are in management, make sure your employees take their break because the work is going to get done. You would be surprised of how truly dedicated, not in just doing the work, but dedicated in a person's mind, a person's spirit, their feeling, their attitude when people are allowed to take care of themselves, especially in a way that they need to take care of themselves. So take the mental break. The other side of the mental break or any break, not just in like taking a lunch or taking those 15-minute breaks and things like that. It's also important to really take that break. And I brought this up one time before in a previous conscious sharing moment. It's like if there is a meeting or whatever it may be, wherever, but most of the time it happens in a meeting. But let's just say words get crossed, feelings get hurt, emotions flare up. If somebody walks out, allow them to walk out. That is taking a break. It's taking a break from the situation. So all what I'm saying is let's look at taking a break in so many different ways and not taking it personal or they're being they're not following the leader, they're being disrespectful. But no, you're disrespecting them because of the fact you're not allowing them to respect themselves by taking a break. When someone do that, it's too much for their nervous system. Doesn't mean they can't handle it, but who's to say you should even be in that situation yourself? Because over time it's just too much. That's really what it is. It's too much for the nervous system. And so we are at liberty to take care of ourselves. Another thing of taking a break, I said you're in a meeting and someone needs to go and use the bathroom to relieve themselves. They're not kids. I can understand if it's a really important meeting, especially if it's a meeting with a client. I can understand that. But these routine meetings, but even then, someone can have a medical condition they may not want to share with you, and they shouldn't. You know, the thing is to know that everything truly is going to work out. No, let me reword that. Everything always works out. It always works out. Even when you're short staffed, even when there's a whole lot of, customers and clients, consumers all at one time, even if there's a flux of things like, oh, instead of asking what am I going to do, ask. You don't even have to ask what it's going to do. Just be thankful that's what it is and know that everything's going to work out. Everything is going to work out. Again, instead of asking, oh, what am I going to do? It's like, oh, yeah, what am I going to do with all of this blessing? Oh, that's where the creativity comes in. It doesn't stop you. And so, again, when it comes to taking a break, it's so important for you in so many aspects of your life. So, again, we can't separate ourselves. You've heard me say it before. We cannot separate ourselves from our home life, from our work life, from our job, and especially for individuals who's working from home, in that, you know, they're still there. And I'll talk about that on another conscious sharing moment, the attitude towards that. But anyway, take the break, give yourself a break. And whether you're an employee, give yourself a break. If you're in management, give yourself a break and make sure your employees, those that you lead, are taking a break too. Because if they don't, again, we do not want, the consequence of not taking a break. That's the thing. So there are more benefits. Oh my, put on this. The benefits outweighs. They say it in a different way, but the benefits outweighs the whatever you consider to be a consequence. And it's kind of say something similar to that in the medical field. The side effects, that's what they say. The benefits outweighs the side effects. So the break is the same thing. Even if you have an influx of customers that come in one time and you're short staffed and somebody called in and that person really needs to leave and you really need for them to stay. But continue to ask someone to stay because you're short staff. That's another conversation. But my whole point is that person needs a break because it's not sustainable. So are you adding to the benefits, or are you adding to the side effects? Woo! Let me say that again. And that's another conscious hero moment talk. I might have to end this and go with that. Are you adding to the benefits, or are you adding to the consequence? I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to leave it there. So, thank you for joining me for this conscious sharing moment. Remember to like and share. Let me know if you're listening on the replay. And also, let me know what you think in the comments. Giving yourself a break because you matter.